What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Aces Conference, the podcast. I am Justin from Virtual Computers and host of the Aces Conference, and with me always is Tim Pearson from Creative Techs out in Seattle. What's up, man? How's the coffee there today?
Oh, it's good. It's a little cold now. It's a couple hours old, but it's always good.
Are you one of those people that microwaves your coffee?
No.
Does anyone in Seattle? Do you get kicked out of Seattle if you do that?
No, my wife does because I make her one in the morning, and 5 minutes later, by the time she gets to it, she thinks it's cold, and so she microwaves it. So.
Well, there's going to be no microwave coffee at the Aces Conference happening May 19th and 20th in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be hot, and if your coffee gets cold, just stick it outside. I don't know. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know anything about it. Is that not how it works?
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Can you just put it outside?
You could do that. Yeah, you could fry an egg on the sidewalk, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Would you eat it?
No. I mean, if I was really hungry, no.
If somebody paid me.
No.
If I was getting monthly recurring revenue, because that's what this is about. Like that?
All right, fair enough. That's good. I like that. Hey, I wonder. I wanted to talk about talk for a second.
Talk about what?
When you talk,
you want to talk about talk? You want to banter?
Yeah, I want to talk about talk.
A little banter.
I want to. Yeah, sure. Because people say all the time, like, "Oh, I just talked to so and so," right? Like, okay. When you say you talk to, okay, say you're sitting at dinner with Michelle and you say, "Oh, I talked to Tim today."
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you talked to me on the phone, or you just slacked me?
I talked to Tim today. I don't usually either.
Well, okay, you wouldn't say to Michelle you were talking to Tim, but
no.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, it would be either. For me, talk is any sort of conversation, whether it's phone, video, Slack. I would say I was chatting with. I would say like I spoke to.
I had a conversation with.
So I had a conversation with.
Is
yeah. I was chatting with Tim. I was chatting with Tim today about, After MASH, and he was giving me his thoughts on it. Like that would be like a normal conversation. Even if we never talked about it on the phone, we were just slacking and sending each other YouTube clips of After MASH season 1, episode 1, where Colonel Potter comes home. Then yeah, I mean it would just be like a normal like I talked to Tim about this. Why?
I don't know.
Are you just mad that I used that as our reference point?
A little bit. No, I was just curious, and also, do you think it matters? So, for instance, like customer interactions, when like you talk to somebody, is emailing? Because I think a lot of times now, email has replaced email or Slack or text messaging has replaced a phone call or an in-person chat. Mm-hmm. Does that matter?
Depends on the topic.
Okay.
Like, I mean, and what's the context here? Like, if somebody did something and I'd be like, I told that person not to do it. Like, the reason I do, especially if you have a phone call with somebody, like I have a really bad memory, like I do. So if I have a phone call with somebody, I hope, or if I'm calling somebody and talking to them about something, I will do an email recap. So this way it's in writing, right?
Okay. Yep.
And this way I can like prove, or we can use it as proof later that we talked. Okay. But I think again, depending on the context, I think in most cases, whether it's phone, text, Slack, email, smoke signal, beeper code. Remember those?
I used to carry one.
Yeah, man. T-Mobile Sidekick. That was a good one. Bring that back. Don't bring back flip phones. Bring back the Sidekick.
I loved my little StarTAC.
Was that your first? I just asked this the other day. A couple people. Was that your first cell phone? Was that the StarTAC?
No. I had one of those like big white like cellular one I don't know. That was the company.
Right, I remember cellular
here,
one. Yeah.
with the big and the antenna on the top of it. You know, you're like, oh.
My dad had one that was in a bag, and I actually like the phone part was like a click off, and it looked like an actual handset.
Yeah.
My first cell phone though, I had the Nokia, something like that.
Yeah.
I replaced the antenna with one that lit up in different colors.
I had a StarTAC, and I actually remember one time it fell out of my pocket, and I drove over it in my driveway.
Yeah,
and it was like fine. Embedded in the mud. It was fine. It worked. Yeah. It was no big deal.
Do that with your iPhone 11 XR. See what happens.
No, I don't want to.
For legal purposes, I'm going to tell everyone, do not drive over your iPhone 11 XR with your car and hope that it's fine. Because it won't be. Wait, why do you want to know why my definition of talk?
I was just curious because I was thinking about, and it has nothing to do with today's topic. It's just my way to waste 5 minutes at the top of the episode and annoy our friends down under. No, but really, like, kind of wrapping it back around, the whole communication thing with customers, and just that it's, it's important and it's valid to always be having communication and being relevant. And is there one method that's more or less valid? Or if I'm slacking all of the employees, but I never slack with the owner of the company, does the owner of the company think that I'm not doing anything?
So that's a good question. Wait, I know we have something else that we want to talk about, but like, I don't let my staff be in my clients' Slacks. Because it got out of control, and no, because it got out of control.
Wait! I just want to stop you for a second because I want to clarify, because that sounded like you. I don't let my clients. You said be in my.
I don't let my employees be in my clients' Slacks.
Right,
yeah, I get it. I see what I said there.
It's kind of like, I mean, I should hope not. We don't want our employees harassing our clients that way or having those type of relations with them.
Sure. I'm not going to touch that one. No, we don't join our clients' Slack instances because, I mean, there's new ways to deal with this, but when we first started doing it, like, we had no way of tracking what was going on. Like, we have access to their accounts so we could jump in. If there's an emergency and we need to jump into the technology channel and like let everybody know that there's an emergency, fine. But we don't sit in there because inevitably things don't get ticketed or don't get logged or there's no proof because the messaging disappears after a while or whatever it is. And I know that, like Help and Bubble IQ do something to like fix that. And we'll talk to them eventually now that they're sponsoring the ACES conference. But I don't know. I haven't decided about that, and I'm still on the fence about texting. Also, Zendesk offers that.
Yeah,
you can text with Zendesk, but it's expensive, and like, I think there's other ways I can pull this off. And really, like, I only text like with one or two of our champions. To get things done when they're either not responding to my email or like it's an emergency. It's not like I'm texting our champions being like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's the plan for this weekend? Like, I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, okay. That's cool. I was curious, what your spin on it is, what your thoughts are. We are in our customers' Slacks, channels, integrations. Dang it. See, I did it there.
I was drinking when I said I was about to go, yeah, you are. But I didn't get a chance to finish.
We do it. We do it. And I think it's been a good thing. I think it gives the kind of instant interaction. Although we got to tell you, last night I had a client who she was on vacation on the beach in Hawaii, and she Slacked me and said, "Hey, if I left my laptop in my room with the lid closed, can you get a file for me and give it to my coworker so I don't have to go back to the..."
Sure, I'll charge you for laziness.
She's on vacation. She need to be working.
That's okay, but that's her problem. Go back to your room. And you're on vacation in Hawaii. Go back to your room. Get the file.
I thought you white glove things.
Sure, but like, you know, first off, you can't do that, right? It doesn't matter. The lid's closed.
I did.
You were able to do it with the lid closed?
I got it. Yeah, I got the file. Yeah.
Because it wasn't actually on her laptop?
No. Well, it's funny because that was I was struggling getting the file at first. I was trying to use Adigy. I was trying to remote in, and I could remote in, but I couldn't, like, we didn't have all the right PPPCs in place, so I couldn't actually control the screen. But I could get it with Live Terminal, and so I was able to navigate to it. And then
because you have the energy saver settings set up in such a way that if the lid's closed, it doesn't actually shut the Wi-Fi off. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it let me in, and I was hoping to pull. I actually thought, my first thought was, as I was struggling with it, was like, I'll pull it from Backblaze, but the most recent file in Backblaze was not the one that she'd worked on, and hit save and close the lid. So. But yeah, actually, Sean.
Well, I mean, no, that's good. Okay, hold on. So then that leads us to, I think, what you want to talk about was a little bit of security, like.
I actually did. I did want to talk about security today because I think that's. I want to, and not. I wanted to just kind of do like a quick brain dump where we kind of just bounce things real quick and give everybody things to think about, because I wanted to talk about security from the standpoint of not just. I mean, I think we often tend to focus on data security as IT people, but I think we also need to step back and think and make sure that, you know, we're talking for ACEs, we're talking about business owners, and that, you know, we have our security lined up with what we need to be doing to protect our business, our company, long-term, short-term, and our customers, because our security doesn't just end, like, if we go out of business, we're a big risk to all of our customers as well. And so, yeah, I'd love to have a chat about that.
Okay.
Okay, go. You go first.
Yeah, no, you go first. Oh. Shoot. Well, I mean, look, let's take this from the perspective of a security company, you know, like ADT or Slomin's or Simply Safe, right?
Sure.
Do you think that the owner of Slomin's, ADT, or Simply Safe has their own security system in their house?
I hope they have a security system in their house.
Right? You would assume that they have something, right? So I think it's the same practice, whereas you have to practice what you preach. If you're telling people, you know, two-factor your email, you should have two-factor on your email. I have this like UB key. My camera's like weirdly focusing. It doesn't, because I have Catalina, I have problems with it, but I bought one for all of my staff because they don't have Catalinas on their machines to secure their machines. Like, we have to be at that level in order to be able to go and say, you need to be at this level also. And like, to a degree, right? Like, you know, we're in the process of like making sure that like everyone's using two-factor on IT glue, and things like that, right? If you're gonna go and tell people you got to be, you know, two-factored, you have to use two-factor as much as possible, things like that. But then you still have to course correct for each client, because each client's gonna be a little different, and you're gonna have to learn how to work around those issues. Like we have a client who we sell Ignite to, right, for file share services, and they don't want to pay for an extra account for us because they're a small business, so they only have the 8 accounts, and they all have two-factor authentication on. So whenever they have a problem with something, I can't just log into their account because I need them to give me the two-factor code, right? So like troubleshooting that, which luckily we haven't had to, but like troubleshooting that could be, you know, annoying at best because of that, right? So,
well, that's why that's like customers' biggest pushback all the time is like, you know, two-factor is annoying. Passwords are annoying. How do I get over these things? And I think you're absolutely right. Like, you have to do it. And I kind of make an intentional show of like, I'm getting my Authy code from my watch before I log into your thing or whatever, so that it normalizes it, right? And so that
Right.
people kind of customers come to expect it. But what about other things like that as business owners we should be doing to protect? Okay, so data security, we need to two-factor everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to do some type of thoughtful audit of our vendors to make sure that they're not doing anything stupid with our data, or at least know what they're doing with our data.
So I have the answer for that. Actually, we just did a security guidelines book for a client of ours. We're calling it the Red Book. And what you want to get from your vendors, as many as possible, is a SOC 2 report. A SOC 2 report and an ISO... Oh, what is it? Like, not an ISO 9001, but like an ISO 9017, something to that effect. Those are the key element reports that tell people that they are being safe and protective and doing the right things with your data. Because a SOC 2 report, oddly enough, even though it's an accounting thing, you get it done by a certified SOC 2 accountant, like a financial accountant, it still takes data security into play, and it takes business continuity into play. So if you ever have a file share system, like we have for Ignite, we get their SOC 2 report for Ignite because we use it for this thing. We were looking, one of our clients we're writing in the security guideline, this client, they use Ignite, but they sometimes use Dropbox, but they're not using Dropbox for business. They're only using the Dropbox personal because they use it like once in a blue moon. But guess what? The SOC 2 report doesn't cover Dropbox personal, only covers Dropbox business. So in order to be security compliant for their clients, so now my clients, we have to upgrade them to Dropbox for business because they need to get the SOC 2 report in order to be within business compliance. And that's a key thing. And there's some vendors that don't have it. And I'm not saying you can't use vendors that don't have it, because there's a key vendor who I use, who I don't want to mention, who doesn't have one, but I know they're working on it. But they also don't have the kind of data that, like, let's say Ignite or Dropbox would have on file. So it's not as important, right? But like, we got a SOC 2 report from like JumpCloud. You know, that's huge because they're doing password management.
You would have to, right?
Right.
Yeah, right.
So if you're ever doing that, SOC 2 report is the place to be. We even looked into doing a SOC 2 report for our own company, and it's quite expensive to do. Yeah. But if you're a company of a certain caliber, like, I still want to do it. I just can't right now. But like, I plan on having one by at least the end of 2021.
Yeah. How about like a pen test?
There's tools out there. I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go, right? So I have a friend who works with the government. He used to do pen tests for people, like in-person pen tests. They hired him to like try to break into some building or whatever it is. But there's the Nessus NESSUS, I think it is, vulnerability scanner, great for websites and things like that. Somebody at Aces, I'm pretty sure it was Will O'Neill, talked about providing WordPress security. The best thing, I love this. So like, when we bring up a client, we go to their website, we immediately add /WP admin at the end of the website to see if it works. Those kind of things. Those are both from your own business and your client's business, are both things to protect and make money, right? We're covering two sides. It's not just about selling this on your client. Like, if you're gonna sell security on your client, you have to be secure. If you're gonna sell a Nessus vulnerability scanner on your client, like, you need to make sure your website is also secure, because who knows what you have on your website that can leak into your data. We build these WordPress sites, we forget about that we have a page that was connected to XYZ system. One leak and you get all the way through. So you gotta take care of that stuff.
All right. So when you were and then do you so from a regular business sense, then, like, let's talk about some of the other things that you would have your customers do, or you might talk to your customers about. So like, you have a a backup and recovery plan? Do you have like, our office burned down? What do we do? Do you have that plan for your business?
Well,
And
we
you
don't.
don't have to like tell me what your plan is, but
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
like
no.
this
Well,
is
we don't.
this
We
is
don't
kind of
have.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't have that because our business is our business, for starters, we don't have an office, and secondly, we don't have any data that resides on anything like of ours. Like virtual computers doesn't own a Synology that has data on it for clients.
Okay,
So
so what happens
we
if your
wouldn't need that
laptop
stuff.
gets stolen?
My laptop gets stolen. I mean, my laptop's in, you know, find my whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Find my phone. Find my computer. It's got normally it would have this YubiKey, so it wouldn't even work without it at all. Like you wouldn't be able to get in, and that connects to File Vault, which is why I made my staff get it. Right, this YubiKey, it's a fingerprint, but it also has some. It doesn't use your password to log in. It uses another code, like a PIN code, which then unlocks the ability to use your password. So it adds like another layer of security. So without that, the laptop is worthless, and you need to have the code to get to the password to get to File Vault. So it's like a couple of steps. You remember the beginning of that show Get Smart?
Aftermash?
No, no, no. I saw you do that. No, Get Smart, where he was walking through the doors, and like the first doors would open widthwise, and then the other one would open vertically, and then they would open diagonally, and then they would open the other way diagonally. That's kind of like what it is to get into my laptop. I also never leave the house, so I don't have to really worry about it getting stolen. Like that's the key element. Like if you don't want your laptop stolen, don't leave the house and get a security system.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So that's good. And like I said, I just want to like throw out things for people to think about because like when we work with a customer, we have a like what's your business is something happened, nobody can get into the office for one day. What do we do? Something happened, nobody can get in the office for
we call
a
that
week. What do we do?
Right. Oh yeah. So I see what you're saying. We don't have that. I don't think we've ever done that for a client, but we should do that. Most of our clients, we have the majority of our clients now on Ignite, so like that covers that. But a true story. So, how long ago was it? We were already living in New Jersey, so it had been maybe before Roman was born. So 6, maybe 7 years ago, when the Hurricane Sandy hit New York, right? And we had a client. We had just signed on with them for like a month earlier. So luckily we weren't held accountable for this because their IT guy was still on staff at the time because he was leaving. He was bringing us in and he was training us and he was first leaving not for another month and a half. So we kind of lucked out with this one. And their servers were like a bunch of X servers and they didn't have power because the entire lower half of Manhattan didn't have power. And be quiet, dog. And he drove into the city and took the servers out of the rack, put them in his car, drove to Pennsylvania where he lived, and hooked them up in his house and got everybody back online. Like, you got to do what you got to do, right? Like, luckily we don't have to worry about that. I mean, we probably still would have to worry about it now if the office lost power, but we have a secondary server in Texas. Like, but no, I think it's less about building and more just about knowing and let the staff there know what to do. So like,
well, sure. Like, what's your notification? Like, you need a notification plan too, right? Like, how do we tell everybody? Where's that?
Well, if we were in our clients' Slacks, we would be able to tell them that way. No, I think that's a big thing. And I'll be honest, we don't really do that well. We communicate with the point of contact or the champion. And we say, this is what the situation. So that particular client, right, they happen to have, we actually have their disaster recovery at the owner's brother's company in North Texas or something like that. Oklahoma, somewhere around there, I forget. And we've set up the other office with a Meraki and a point-to-point VPN and a Synology and the whole nine. And we watch it constantly. And we actually pushed MDM profiles for VPNs to New York and the other office. And the other one says, do not use in case of emergency. And like, they know the emergency is if the champion guy says, we're all going to the other office, like they can start using that. So like, we've pre-prepped it, but like, And like we've tested it and it works, but like we've never fully had to go all on it, you know. And that's a hard thing to test for. Like there's no swarm of bees test for like VPN connections to a sub office halfway into the country when we're on the coast, to see if that something works. But I think nowadays with most of our clients in Ignite, we don't really have to worry about that too much. You know, that's the upside to cloud computing. You don't have to worry about so many things, but at the same time, you do have to worry about, like, with Ignite, for example, the reason they sell their Protect program is to make sure that you don't have someone who like maliciously deletes 100 files, or they don't have someone's account log in from New York and then from London 3 minutes later because, you know, suspicious logins and stuff like that. So you gotta buy into it, and you gotta buy in all the way. You can't just buy in halfway, and that's with any cloud service, which is also why you need a SOC 2 report from these cloud services. And you have to be able to tell the users how it works and what to do in case of emergencies. I just threw a lot at you.
I know. I was trying to decide which thing I wanted to pick on. I think that no, I mean, hearing you talk, like, I think that, you know, one of the things that probably a lot of us maybe should be doing is, you know, like, here's some hourly billing that we can be generating. You know, if you're looking for that, and it's something that you can probably pretty simply put together, or the first one's difficult, but to come up with like an audit and a report and a plan, for, you know, when the poop hits the fan, when the hurricane hits, you know.
Well, we should write that. You should write that into your QBRs. Like,
you should have that. You should write. Well, sure, that you. I mean, you should have that as part of your ongoing process, and that, like, your company needs to have one for your company, not necessarily for how you're going to deal with customers, but like for like what, or, you know, to some extent how you're going to deal with customers, but not the individual level.
Right.
But then also we need to build that for our customers. So our customers have the, you know, somebody drove a car into the building and we can't operate today. What are we going to do? How do we let everybody know? How do we make sure, was our data backed up? Did we, you know, we don't have access to our server for 3 days. Does it matter? Does it not matter? Do we need to fail over internet? Blah, blah,
I think,
you know,
I think that's really hard
when
to
you
write.
sit down and have that. Yeah, well, it is, but you got to have like that conversation with people though too, right? Like,
right.
It is hard to read or it's hard to write, but if you pull one together and you have 25 clients,
right,
you can almost copy and paste a lot of it for all 25 of those. And if you sell it for, say it's 3 hours worth of work, you know,
right.
So that's $30.
I think the bigger problem is that a lot of people don't know what the right questions are, and I think that,
sure.
You know, like, to the audience who's listening, like, you could ask Tim or I the questions, but the fact is that, like, they might not be apropos to your office. Like, in New York City, when everyone's on multi-level, you know, skyscrapers, and we have clients on the 20th, 30th, 50th floor of a building, you know, the questions are going to be very much different than, you know, rural Indiana, where there's like a two-story building.
But it's still not that hard to determine. You need a 1 day plan, a 3 day plan, a 5 day, you know, and a 30 day plan. Like, the building burned down. Like, so in Seattle, it's earthquake. You're downtown. We're in earthquake zone, right? Mm-hmm. I used to work in a, 50-story building. And they told us that, you know, the thing is, when the earthquake hits, you're going to expect to stay in the building. You're not going to be able to get out of downtown. You're going to expect to stay in the building for the next 8 days, because there's going to be so much glass on the ground that even if you could get, you know, even if your building was intact and you could ride an elevator down, you need to have, you know, be prepared for the fact that you're not getting out of this building for, I think it was 8 days. I think it was something really stupid.
So did you just bring a suitcase with you every day to work? Like, what was the answer?
No, I mean, you had a box under your desk that had, like, cans of tuna and change of clothes and little things of booze.
The important things. Well, your box is full of just nips of alcohol. Yeah, I could handle one pair of underwear for 8 days. That's gross.
That's not a problem.
It's not
I'll
a problem.
wash it with the alcohol.
God. No, yeah, I see what you're saying. We don't do this, and now I'm thinking about it. Why is it every time I get on the phone with you, you always question my business, and I always get off the phone going, God damn it, I got to do something.
Well, it's the role I play. But
Yeah.
but also so like also some of this stuff, right? We need to think about. Yeah, I only do this on TV.
Yeah, I'm only a doctor on TV. When I go home, no one knows. I'm not really a doctor.
But do we, like things like insurance though? Like, do we talk to our customers about insurance and like cyber insurance? And for our businesses, do we have insurance? Do we have business? I think being in the ACN, there's a requirement.
Yeah.
There's an insurance requirement. But is that enough?
And do we know? E&O requirement.
Yeah.
I think the better question is, the better thing is, you don't want to find out if it's enough, but at the same time, right? But at the same time, like, yeah, you should definitely have insurance. You should definitely be talking to your clients about getting cybersecurity insurance. I mean, we had a client the other day who got crypto lockered. All the PCs in their office, crypto lockered. Macs couldn't do anything. Like, not that the Macs got hit, but like they couldn't get to the server because the servers got crypto lockered, and so did the data. So did the data recovery, the disaster recovery. It went across the wire to the DR site. Like the guy was telling me the other day, the reason they have all their data is because he got really like paranoid about things like a couple years ago, and he set up retrospect to back up their data recovery to a tape. Yeah, to a tape with data with disaster recovery. Like who still uses retrospect? Number one, and number two, yeah. Well, now it's cool again, right? Right.
It is. It is. If you like retrospect, by the way, you can reach out to Tim at creativetext.com. We are retrospect resellers.
Plug-in.
I got a plug. That's my first plug.
Your first plug. Mazel tov. We'll do a celebration.
Episode 43. Tim gets a plug.
You were just waiting till we got critical mass of our listeners before you decided to start throwing stuff out there.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, that's the only way they're recovering their data because the IT guy there was super, retentive about how that stuff worked and lucked out. Otherwise, they would have been up the creek. So yeah, I mean, these are things you have to think about. Data bit when you have. As soon as you introduce RPC, not again, we're all in the guys that like Macs don't get viruses and stuff like that, but that's coming down the pipe and whatever it is. But as soon as you have that one accountant who only wants to use QuickBooks for Windows on your Mac network, who's connected to the file share, and it gets crypto lockered, the entire Mac office doesn't matter.
Right. No, I totally agree, and I think to like some of the other things. That it's important to think about and talk about is like, and nobody wants to talk about this, right? But like, you own a business. Do you have a will? Do you have a plan for succession, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have a partner. I have a partner, but like we have life insurance. We have a plan so that like if one of us dies, we take out life insurance on each other, or the business does, and so that we can also like buy out the other person's spouse. So we've got enough funding then to keep the business going because we're going to be grieving. Like I make jokes about Kyle, but I love Kyle, and if Kyle died tomorrow, I would also be messed up for a couple weeks, and it would be a struggle to figure out what I was doing and how I was going.
We wouldn't stop recording the podcast though. Sorry, Kyle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. People think I'm a heartless bastard. I'm kidding. But we have a couple. Keep in mind, we have a couple episodes that we're not going to release. Maybe we'll just drop one of those.
This might be one of those episodes.
Nah, it'll be good. No, we have like for me a lot of my stuff is in 1Password, and so when you sign up, what I love about if you sign up for 1Password, like the professional one where you pay for it, they give you this form to fill out right in the beginning, and it contains your master key. And you can print it, and you write in your password, and it says put this somewhere safe. And so I printed a copy and I gave it to my wife, and I printed a copy and I gave it to my parents, and I said put this in the safe deposit box, God forbid, because in it is from there, from my 1Password, they'd be able to handle enough of the business. I mean,
Right.
what's really important in my 1Password and my security notes is the hex color for the aces red or virtual blue. That's a real hard thing. You can't do that by eye. I need them to know. We got to keep the branding going. It's all about the branding. But yeah, that's those key components. That's, and I feel what you're saying. Like, get a will, have the life insurance, have a plan of succession. I've because I have staff as opposed to a partner. Typically, if I'm taking a day off or whatever it is, or if I have to go deal with something, I've put Luke or Lauren in charge for the day. I'm not just checking out. I'm watching how they're running the company. So this way, if God forbid something happened to me, I know that they'd be able to run with things in my absence. Let's say I didn't die, but I got into an accident. I'm in the hospital for a couple of days. Luke,
Sure.
you're in charge. Lauren, you're in charge, or whatever it is. They'd be able to run things at my caliber and be able to get the company moving without a problem. But that you gotta have, but that has to get written down now. Now that we know that they can do it, and so that's important.
What about look at what I did there. Nothing. I completely
You
lost
pulled a Tim.
my train of thought. I did. I pulled a Tim.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's another tough subject, right? Like, why do we keep talking about this stuff? We don't want to talk about.
We talk about this stuff because no one else is talking about it. That's the thing, right? Because look. We especially at Aces, we talk about real businessy task items. How to grow your business, how to increase your revenue, how to get out of the mindset to want to do more content. But and this is why we did that episode a couple of weeks ago on mental health, and I haven't stopped talking about it with other people. We got to get into the mindset of being able to take care of ourselves, both physically and mentally. And this is part of it. This is because there's a little piece of you that is just chipping away at your brain, being like, I didn't get a will, or I need to get this done, I need to get this done because I need to make sure that this thing's safe. But then what happens is, while you're thinking about that, you get 17 emails from clients because the server's down, or they can't use their mouse, or everything is blue, and that interrupts your day to work on these other things. And part of the thing that people need to realize is that as a business owner, you need to work on your business. And that also means working on your own components, your own life that go with it. Because especially if you're a single entrepreneur, so as most of the listeners are, you are your business. If God forbid something happens to you, what's going to happen to your business? And then what's going to happen to your clients? You don't want to be the first domino, ever. Done.
Agreed. So, your staff is all traveling with you to the ACES conference, right?
No. We leave. Only Luke's coming, but I'm taking both Luke and Alex with me to the Adage conference, and we purposely do not fly at the same time.
All right, that was going to be my question. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Luke and I flew at the same time one time, and I called Lauren, and I was like, "No more double jeopardy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we used to have rules in the bank about how many people from a given team or whatever, our management team, could fly at the same time or same
flight. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially same flight.
Yeah. No, I caught the double jeopardy thing once, and I was like, we can't let this happen again. And so it kind of worked out that I'm flying like earlier in the week. Luke's coming in midweek. Alex is staying longer. So like we all kind of like worked out the schedule this way. But yeah, no, I thought about that. And that's another thing to think about, right? Like when you're traveling anywhere. For Baltimore, I took my entire team. We drove to Baltimore. If God forbid something happened, one, Aces wouldn't have happened. And then two, my entire company was in my car. Well, it was my wife's car, so I can blame her.
But yeah, I mean, some of those things, like, sadly, as a business owner, we have to be a little bit morbid about, like, we have to think about some of this stuff. And then also because we're doing it, like we have to, you know, we have to just kind of like keep having those conversations with our customers too. I walked into a customer yesterday. They were talking about Zoom stuff, and as the conversation went, somebody said, "Well, we can just use that spare laptop." And I said, "What spare laptop?" And they said, "Oh, well, you know, so and so left." And I said, "Oh, I did not know so and so left. Tell me more about this. When did they leave?" "Oh, they've been gone for like 2 weeks, and well."
Their accounts are still active and they still have access to the server.
Of course. Okay, yeah. Okay, but I'll take you another step. This was their web developer.
Oh, no.
And they're just, you know, like they do websites for other customers. Like,
right.
You know, and so I was like, okay, well, let's talk about this. What have you guys been? Oh, and they said, oh, yeah, we thought about that. We need to make some changes.
I like the best way they go, no, he's a good guy. Okay. He left on good terms, right? Yeah, he left on good terms. He won't do anything bad. Let me tell you something. Everyone's an a-hole. Everyone will do something bad if you push them the right way. I always have the negative opinion on people who leave. And like my clients are like, no, it was fine. But inevitably something happens and I'm like, they did it. And they're like, no, it wasn't them. It was a fluke. No, they did it. I'm telling you, they did it.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so the takeaways. The takeaways for this episode. Takeaways for this episode. Get insurance. Have a will. Have a plan. Have a business continuity plan for yourself and for your clients need to have business continuity plans. What else?
You need a backup,
backup and recovery.
A BDR, right? Yeah,
a BDR. Right. Backup discovery. Backup.
It's Friday. We're not supposed to have acronyms when we record.
Backup something. Backup D recovery. The D is his middle name.
Dana.
Backup Dana recovery.
The third. Data.
Oh, Data. I thought you said Dana. He got real mad that his mom gave him Dana as a middle name, and he got confused for the rest of his life. Which is fine.
I hope John Motors watching the end of this video, just watching me fall apart.
There you go. Backup disaster recovery, and you have to find, and you know what? Have those hard conversations with your significant other or partner or spouse or parent or somebody who can pick up the pieces in case, God forbid, something happens.
Absolutely.
Done.
Sorry, I was choking on a piece of ice.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
You have anything else you want to tell everyone?
I guess I need to add that to my
in case of ice choke. In case of ice choke. Fine.
Do I have anything else? Oh yeah. Well, there's an ACES conference coming up. It's May 19th and 20th. Do my little plug there for that.
That's good. Where do people go to sign up?
Oh, it's at acesconf.com.
Fishing line. There you
go. Today's the first game of spring training. How about that?
Not when this goes out, it won't be.
By the time this goes out there, I'll have been to Hawaii. I'll be come back and I'll be all relaxed and refreshed.
Leave me to do the podcast alone.
I think we have 3 podcasts scheduled for recording while I'm in Hawaii, buddy.
That's fine. Yeah, Aces 2020, May 19th and 20th. Lineup is set and stacked. Matt Zachary, our keynote. Rich Wingfield, Matt Wosterhoff, Charles Edge, Dupe Alaru, and Melanie Curtis. And an Ask Me Anything with the board of directors to answer all those questions you guys sent in from our email back in January. That's going to be an amazing show. And that's going to be moderated by Brian Best. So it's going to be Will O'Neill, Andy Espo, Adam Angst, Alan Hancock, and myself, moderated by Brian Best, answering all of your questions. We're going to bring back the roundtables. We have some amazing sponsors. There's a couple more I still can't announce yet. They're just finalizing. But we did just sign, and we got to say that Help will be there. We were just mentioning them earlier in the show. And, of course, phone.com, Watchman Monitoring, yourcomputerinventory.com, Adigy, Loop Communications. They're all going to be there as well. So get your tickets today at acesconf.com. That's ACESCONF.com. And we'll see everybody next time. See ya.
See you guys.